good time to bring on board Chakri Lokpriya, Chief Investment Officer, Equities at LGT Wealth. Great having you here, Chakri. Let me first start off by, and we are also joined by we're also joined by Osho Krishnan, who's the Chief Manager, Technical and Derivative Research at Angel One. Great having you here as well, Osho. Chakri, let me start with you. What we're seeing broadly is we've seen very strong buying or short covering, if I can call it, within the IT pack, and a 2% move on IT yesterday. Let's start with a sense on what your feel is with regard to IT and whether it's a good time right now to buy, because we've seen various points where the IT index has moved between this 33 to 36,000 range, and we've always seen it pull right back down. So just based on pure fundamentals, give us a sense on your view on IT.
Good morning. Thanks for having me. I think there are two or three things happening with IT. One, the earnings have been actually kind of, at least they have not disappointed. They've been in line to slightly better. The trade book, or rather the order book, is quite okay, but the execution still remains in question because of the tariff uncertainties. And third, yesterday again there was this speculation that there might be a US-India tariff deal, and I guess that also partly helped in yesterday's up move. But now that has clearly been proven to be false, and Modi is not attending the ASEAN summit, so there is unlikely to have any trade tariff deal anytime soon with the US. So against that backdrop, I think the sentiment for IT should continue to remain muted, and so I wouldn't really go ahead and buy into IT.
Buying into IT at the moment, that's a take coming in from Chakri. But Osho, what about you? IT on the charts, which stock is looking more attractive given the kind of run-up that we've seen over the last week as well as yesterday itself of 3% uptick on Nifty IT on an intraday basis alone? What's looking attractive, if at all?
Very good morning to all of you. Well, looking at the overall IT index, then I expect that the whole IT index has seen a very strong correction in the past few trading months, and from at current levels there is some kind of consolidation that has been seen in some of the counters. So I expect that from here onwards, I'm not very much bullish that from here onwards we can see some kind of a reversal in the trend, but definitely some short covering can be seen in majority of the IT firms. The heavyweights like TCS, Infosys are looking very lucrative at current levels, and there is some potential for short covering in these counters. So TCS is placed at a very strong support of nearly 29 and 2800 kind of a zone, which has historically also has provided very strong support zone for TCS. And on the higher end, I'm expecting that the target can be seen around the zone of 34 to 3500 from a short-term point of view. So TCS is looking very lucrative to me at current levels, followed by HCL Tech and Infosys. Even HCL Tech yesterday has given a very strong breakout. So I'm expecting that there can be some momentum that can be seen in HCL Tech on the higher end. Immediately, I'm expecting a near about targets of nearly 1640 to 1650 in a short-term perspective. While on the lower end, again, 1440 is supposed to be a positional stop loss for the counter. So there is some stocks which are looking positive from the IT space.
Switching quickly to pharma, US pharma major Eli Lilly has tied up with Indian drug major Cipla to market and distribute its obesity and diabetes drug, and that is of course for the Indian market. Srishti is here with all of the details on that.
Well, yes, Cipla is going to be in focus today on the back of the news flow where the company has tied up with US major Eli Lilly for the diabetes drug. And this is going to be an interesting one because this is coming just before the semaglutide opportunity going ahead and expanding into the generics market. And before that, Cipla has tied up with Eli Lilly because as we know that Eli Lilly actually has Mounjaro in its portfolio, and Cipla will brand this particular drug into the Indian markets with a different brand named called Europeak, and analysts do believe that this is going to be contributing into their financials in the next couple of years. If we look at Novama's estimate, they're estimating around 360 to 370 crores of revenue contribution in FY26 and 27. They have gone ahead and raised the EPS estimate by 3%, and along with with that target price now raised to 1725 rupees. But Elara does have an accumulate rating, target price 1670. They do find this particular deal quite positive. It can give Cipla the first mover advantage, but they have also noted that the stock has already seen a decent run up in the past 5 days. Along with that, Tata Motors is going to be in focus today. There's a rating action by S&P, where S&P Global Rating has revised the outlook on Tata Motors passenger vehicles and TML Holdings to a negative rating now from a stable rating earlier. Other than that, in terms of the other newsmakers, NTPC Green is going to be in focus today on the back of the news flow coming in, where the company has gone ahead and increased their capacity by 9 megawatts. So that counter is going to be in focus. And in terms of some of the other news with respect to the block deals, we have been tracking one of the recently listed counters that is going to be in focus today when it comes to the counters like Cohance Life Sciences, where the company will be in focus on the back of wherein one of the companies has actually come out with they have actually, yes.
All right, Srishti. Yeah, so Cohance Life, BNP has bought around 1.12 lakh shares at 890 apiece. MSPT is sold. And EPAC Prefab also had a block deal where BofA Securities bought around 5.6 lakh shares at 234 rupees apiece. Thank you for that, Srishti, though, for covering all of that. But let's start with the pharma pack, because Laurus was buzzing yesterday in trade, very unlike the way in which the index performed, Kunal. Laurus was up 2%, again on the back of those numbers. We covered those numbers
and the margins
yesterday.
are back to 60% for them, actually.
Yeah, margins held up, sir. So when you're looking at it sequentially, margins at 24.4 held up, but you saw a real strong jump in margins when you're looking at it on a YOY basis. Of course, that's on the fundamental side of things. But talk to us about the technicals. This 2% jump. Also, we've seen a stupendous rally in the stock price from 500 to 950 odd. Is it overdone? Because we had a view coming in from, I believe, an Elara saying that it was overdone. Trying to get your view on charts.
Yeah, it's a little difficult to try and buy the stock at current levels because of the run up the stock has already seen, of course, over the last many years, I think 2 or 3 years so far for Laurus Lab, and even in the last, I think, few months, where the stock has isolated itself with respect to the entire pharma sector, where it's been a class outperformer as compared to a sector which has been down and out or going to a drag as such. So I think in that sense, it becomes very difficult to try and buy these stocks at the peak of momentum. So that's why I would probably try and avoid Laurus Labs at current levels.
Chakri, do you have a view with regard to Laurus before I ask you on Cipla?
I think, Laurus has far more headwinds than Cipla. Yeah, the uncertainties of CDMO, etc., that can pan out in the future. And therefore, on the other hand, Cipla is probably, while it's had a good run, the Eli Lilly's product for the type 2 diabetes is a market leader. And it's bound to see some traction once it's launched and marketed in India.
Okay, and while we're talking about the pharma pack, Harsh, another stock in focus today is going to be Syngene International.
Yes.
On the back of the expansion that they've announced for their biologics facility. Could be a big news, and we'll see how that stock reacts. Chakri, your take on Syngene particularly, or the overall CRDMO space? Any outlook on that front?
Syngene is something which we haven't invested in recently. But the CDMO space, for all the uncertainties about how it'll be can be tariff, it's not tariff today, and the restrictions that can be placed on the sector, it's for that reason, we are kind of staying away.
Anything that you like in pharma? Osho, anything that you like in pharma?
So from Pharma Pack, yes, there are a few counters which are looking positive on the technical front. Firstly, Zydus Life is looking very positive to me because yesterday it has given a consolidation breakout. So Zydus Life is looking attractive at current levels. There has been decent consolidation, and now the counter has emerged above the short-term moving average. So I expect the momentum can be continued. On the higher end, I am expecting a near about target of 1040, while 985 should be kept as a very strong stop loss for the counter. Apart from it, even Syngene is looking positive to me. Yesterday, it has seen a volume-based movement of nearly 3%. Although from here onwards, I'm not very much optimistic that there can be a trend reversal in the counter. But for short term, there is some potential for momentum in the counter. And on the higher end, I am expecting a target of nearly 685 to 690 from a very short-term point of view, while the zone of 640 should be seen as a very strong support and can be kept as a stop loss.
Okay, let's dip into a short break. On the other side,
The market, and we've discussed a wide range of sectors, but let's also revisit the FMCG space once again, because of course brokerage calls on HUL have started to trickle in post its numbers that came in market hours yesterday. A decent set of numbers coming in over there, but today the stock to watch out for is going to be Colgate on the back of slightly weaker than expected numbers, although their EBITDA margins is something that they've managed to hold on to and in line with street estimates. Chakri, your take on both of these stocks, HUL on one side, Colgate on the other. It's not an apples to apples comparison, but still, if you have to pick some winners, if at all you're spotting any from the FMCG space, who would those be?
Unilever, Hindustan Unilever is probably better placed than Colgate. You saw roughly a 4% growth in the case of HUL, and the margins kind of held steady. And some kind of demerger in the ice cream business will help the margins a little bit. And overall, the whole company is trying to premiumize its beauty wealth business, and that will also help it a little bit. On the other hand, Colgate, falling revenue, falling earnings, margins are still kind of holding up, but with no product innovation, so really wouldn't buy Colgate.
okay. All right, Chakri. So no Colgate for you, but let's get a chart check as well on a couple of these. Osho, do you have a view? HUL, Colgate, some of these might buzz on the back of the way in which brokerages are interpreting the numbers, and of course Colgate on the numbers primarily.
I think the counter can see some kind of consolidation around the same levels, because 2600 historically has been seen as a very strong resistance zone for HUL. So if it breaches the zone of 2650 on a very decisive manner, then only we can see some kind of positive traction coming back in the counter. Overall, technically, the counter remains robust. So I expect that any kind of dip towards the zone of 2500 can be augured well for the buyers. So 2500 will be the zone where one should try to accumulate the share. Or if the price crosses above the zone of 2650, then one can look for buying opportunity in HUL. While comparatively, Colgate is not looking lucrative on the technical charts as of now. The counter has been into a decisive sell-off, and there has been stagnation at the lower end for Colgate. So I will wait for a consolidation breakout on the higher end, then only can look for buying opportunity. Else, if it breaches on the lower end, then we can even look for sell opportunity, because the historical support for Colgate is approximately 200 to 300 points, 200 points lower. So 2200 is a very strong support zone. So if it breaches the zone of 2200, then even short can be seen in Colgate. So one should wait for any kind of decisive move in Colgate to take any action.
Okay, so that's on Colgate Palmolive. Kunal, another stock that's going to be in focus today is Hero MotoCorp. They've entered the UK market and yes, they've launched a Euro 5 hung 440 cycle. This, of course, priced around 3,500 euros over there. Kunal, your take, pardon me, sorry, 3,500 pounds, yes, over there. Kunal, your take on Hero MotoCorp and any other stock from the two-wheeler space that looks good?
So I think Hero MotoCorp, Eicher Motors, these are two names. Bajaj Auto, I think also recently has managed to look a little bit more attractive. But I think, if you try and rank them in terms of outperformance, Eicher Motors is of course one of the top names in the entire two-wheeler pack. The stock has done exceptionally well. Now moved into that 7,000 plus kind of a range breakout, which is a new high for Eicher Motors, and that too in terms of strong outperformance coming in the last few months. Then I think Hero MotoCorp is coming very close towards a breakout of the previous highs of 6,200, 2024. And remember, I think a point where Hero MotoCorp had fallen down to almost 40 to 50% from their 2024 high. So from 6,200 levels thereabout towards 3,300, which was the low for Hero MotoCorp. So I think in that context, the stock has recovered exceptionally well. Bajaj Auto is still trying to get back into the thick of recovery. The stock is just about meandering around the 9,000 levels. But I believe that sooner we'll see this stock also going into a little bit of a outperforming rally from here on from a short-term play. But I think the strongest name so far from the two-wheeler pack stands out to be Eicher Motors.
Chakri, let me come to you with regard to a Hero. Now, just look at the move on the stock. 6% high over the last 1 month. The last 6 months, the stock is up 41%. From those sub 4,000 levels, it's at 5,584 odd. And even year to date, it's done 34%. Strong outperformance. do you believe that this re-rating of sorts that the stock has seen from mid-teens in terms of price to earnings, uh, do you believe that some more of that is something that one can pencil in?
Hero Moto is very well placed. If you look at the most recent numbers too, during the Diwali and Dashera sales were very strong for Hero MotoCorp and it gained market share. So, it has kind of a reversal of its business over the last couple of years ago. It was losing market share and now it's beginning to gain market share. And it's also well placed both in the entry and the level above the entry level. So in spite of the run up, the valuations are still okay in terms of the growth out there. So I'd still be holding on to Hero MotoCorp at current levels and maybe even buy a little bit.
Okay, that's the take on Hero MotoCorp and the overall two-wheeler space. Take coming in from Kunal and Chakri both, but shifting focus from autos to defence, because in a big push for India's defence prowess, the Defence Acquisition Council, chaired by the Defence Minister Rajnath Singh yesterday, has cleared proposals worth 79,000 crore rupees. My colleague Prakash is joining us with more details on how this money is planned to be allocated. Prakash.
Well, it's a very positive development coming in for the Indian defence sector, as the Defence Acquisition Council, chaired by the Defence Minister Rajnath Singh, has cleared proposals worth rupees 80,000 crore to enhance capabilities of Indian armed forces. A very significant development coming in. In fact, the DSE has cleared procurement of Nag missile system, ground-based mobile system, and high mobility vehicles. Nag missile system will enhance Indian Army's capability of neutralizing enemy combat vehicles and bunkers. The induction of heavy mobility vehicles will significantly improve logistic support to the forces in diverse geographical terrains. Along with that, DSE has also given its nod to the procurement of 4 landing platform docks with an outlay of rupees 33,000 crore to carry troops and tanks for sea operations. A very crucial development coming in as far as Indian Navy is concerned. In addition to that, the procurement of 30 mm naval surface gun, advanced lightweight torpedoes have also been cleared by the Defence Acquisition Council. A proposal of procuring collaborative long-range target saturation and destruction system for Indian Air Force has also been cleared by the Defence Acquisition Council to improve its capabilities. A very significant development coming in. And the most importantly, these proposals have been accepted by the DSE under the Make in India plan to achieve Atmanirbharta in the defense sector. That essentially means it will provide fillip to the domestic defense sector, and domestic companies will have the opportunity to secure more such projects, defense projects going forward.
Thanks, Prakash, for that update. Of course, Harsh, 2.5 lakh crores of DSE approvals in the last 6 months alone, compared to 2.2 lakhs in entire FY25. And while this is a big, approval which is coming in, it will be provided over the next 6 to 24 months. And while the entire thing would be allocated to many companies like BEL, Bharat Dynamics, HAL, and L&T also stands to gain, and some of the shipyards like Cochin and Mazagon will also be gaining from that. Chakri, you have any outlook on these companies, some of the defense companies, BEL, BDL, HAL, and Cochin Shipyard?
I think the defense sector is well positioned structurally to do very well over the next 3 to 5 years. The valuations are high, will continue to be high. So then it becomes a question of timing the investments. But whether it's Bharat Electronics or Mazagon, Mazagon kind of companies are very unique in the sense that there's not much competition. It takes a lot of skill and a lot of entry barriers into that business, and same thing with HAL. So those entry barriers afford a certain kind of premium to the multiple and would be buyers for the longer term, because these stocks can correct also in the medium term.
Quickly highlight who the key beneficiaries of the win is. Firstly, thanks for that, Chakri, for that context. Now, the Nag missile system, one of the key beneficiaries will be a Bharat Dynamics. The opportunity size is around 2,000 odd crore for them. Ground-based mobile ELINT systems. The key beneficiary will be a BEL and an Astra Micro. Both of those will be in focus. BEML and some of the other auto majors will likely benefit from high mobility vehicles and material handling cranes. For the Indian Navy, of course, limited beneficiaries: Mazagon Dock, Cochin Shipyard, L&T and GRSE. But the size is huge. 60,000 crore will potentially accrue to some of these. The naval surface gun potential beneficiaries will be BHEL and GRSE again, and you will have advanced lightweight torpedoes where the beneficiary will be BDL. For the Indian Air Force, collaborative long-range target saturation destructive systems and other proposals, all of those will also be in focus, and you will have the smart ammunition for the 76 super rapid gun mount where BHEL will be a key beneficiary. So BHEL, Astra Micro, Data Patterns will also be among the other beneficiaries for all of these wins that are coming through. Any names, Chakri, that you have in mind, any favorites within the defense pack that stand out for you? You spoke about Mazagon Dock and the like, which I believe will be Cochin Shipyard, GRSE. But anything outside of that within defense that you're liking, and give us a sense on valuations as well, whether there is valuation comfort where the risk reward is more favorable.
Companies which are Hindustan Aeronautics, Bharat Electronics, and Mazagon are like a kind of a must in a defense portfolio. And so we would buy them at all levels, provided you hold them for a long period of time, given they've run up. Then on the other hand, given that the range of things expanding, Bharat Dynamics, Astra Microwave, and even BEML. BEML, even though it is a related play, will benefit significantly, and it's a far more easier play, and the valuations there. All these companies are trading between 30-40 times, for revenue growth much higher, and therefore, valuations will look high, but revenue clarity is there for the next several years.
I missed highlighting that all of those beneficiaries and the list of beneficiaries were straight from the Elara short summary that I received, and therefore need to give credit to Elara for that. So, but broadly, those are some names on our radar on the back of that big 79,000 crore deal which has been cleared by the DAC. Any names on your radar, on your list? I know you like BEL and HAL, but outside of that?
Yeah, so I think Bharat Dynamics now stands out to be one of the stronger ones, of course, which could see some decent recovery. BEML is the other one, which has been more of a strong name. Mazagon Dock and Cochin Shipyard, GRSE, I think to a larger extent, these stocks have also underperformed for a prolonged period of time. I think when you look at this from the 2024 highs, these stocks are still down 20-25% or maybe more than that from their respective previous year highs. And that too at a point when many of the PSU stocks have come back very close to their lifetime high levels or 2024 highs. So I think in that sense, I would probably expect these stocks to also go through a very strong recovery potentially over the next many months.
Okay, so we'll keep our eye out on some of those names. Osho, any defense names on your radar? Any favorites?
Yes, definitely. There are many counters which are favorite to me from the defensive space. Specifically, HAL is one of the name which obviously everybody has already covered. So HAL is looking attractive to me. Recently, on the technical front, the counter have seen a kind of a flat pattern, and there has been a strong consolidation. After that, not a breakout. So I expect the consolidation breakout above the zone of 14,900 can provide a very strong boost to the counter. On the higher end, I'm expecting a target of nearly 5150 from a very short-term point of view. So HAL is looking very positive to me. BEL is also looking very positive to me. BEL is having a strong consolidation at higher levels, and any move beyond the zone of 420 can again provide a very strong boost to the counter. So I'm expecting that these two counters are on the verge of giving a fresh breakout. So one can look for both the counters from short to medium term point of view.
BEL from the defense pack on Osho's radar. But once again, shifting focus, Chakri, I want to come back to you. Let's talk about autos and let's talk about Tata Motors now. Like my colleague Shrishti was highlighting earlier, there has been a credit rating downgrade coming in by S&P on Tata Motors passenger vehicles, now the demerged entity, at BBB negative, for JLR at BBB negative from a BBB positive earlier. Chakri, your sense on Tata Motors, given that so much has gone wrong with the stock recently in terms of that software outage outage for their JLR unit, and that is not looking good in UK right now. But overall, your sense on the stock right now?
These are all near-term hiccups on the stock. Its product portfolio continues to remain very strong. And in terms of, the credit rating, I think that it's largely reflected in its cost of borrowing that the company does. So it's unlikely to have any meaningful impact on its cost of borrowing at current levels. And therefore, the stock has already kind of corrected for all these problems. So I don't think it should react far more negatively from here.
You like Tata Motors?
Yeah, I think at current levels of 400 thereabouts with the adjusted price value, I think it's a good buy. And we've always seen good prices and good news. They'll never come together. You look at auto stocks 2 or 3 months back. Maruti was almost at 11,000.
Sure.
Hero MotoCorp was at 3,500 levels. And of course, the news flow is very negative for many of these auto stocks previously. So I think in terms of price, you have to take a stand at some point of time that the prices are very attractive. The news flow is negative. But hey, over the next 6 months, 12 months, is there a scope of recovery? I strongly see so for Tata Motors.
Maruti or Tata Motors?
From a momentum play, without any doubt, Maruti. But from a value perspective, say from the next 1 year, 3 year kind of a turnaround, Tata Motors I think could be a very good buy.
And M&M versus Maruti, how would you stack that?
Without any doubt, I think it's Maruti.
Oh.
Yeah, because Maruti is now the new leader. And what happened to M&M in 2022-23 when the stock moved from 750 to a club of 1,000 and then 1,500. It got a new leadership stance with respect to the entire auto sector. That stock zoomed from 750 levels to I think 3,000 plus. I think the similar thing is what I'm expecting could happen for Maruti, potentially over the next many years.
Very, very flat on pre-open. Osho, let me ask you, any stocks within the auto pack that you like in particular? And we've discussed quite a few already. M&M, Maruti, Tata Motors, at least among the PV side of things. Also, if I can throw in a Hero, we spoke about that, a TVS, if I may. Any of these that you like, and which is your favorite?
From the auto pack, almost all the counters are looking positive to me, but there has been very strong elevation, and at current levels, the technical parameters have already been overshot. So I expect that in the short-term perspective, there is potential for some consolidation or some kind of profit booking in majority of the counters. But technically, Hero Moto is looking more positive to me because it is on the verge of giving a breakout. So 5,800 will be a very critical zone for the counter. If it breaches the zone of 5,800, then from there onwards, we can see some continued momentum. While on the lower end, I'm expecting that any dip towards the zone of 5,380, 5,400 can provide some kind of cushioning, and that levels can be seen as buying opportunity. But at current levels for momentum play, one can look for intraday trades in these counters. But on a positional point of view, one should wait for some kind of profit booking and then can look for buying opportunity in these counters.
Hospitality also will be in focus. You will have numbers for ITC hotels, I believe.
Yes, ITC hotels.
And you will also have numbers for, you also have IHCL paying off some debt in the Netherlands subsidiary that they have. So some bit of that overhang likely going away. I'm not so sure if it's very, very positive with regard to IHCL, but nonetheless, you'll have some of these hospitality counters in focus. And before I let you go, Chakri, do you like any names within the hospitality pack and any favorites? Also, we've seen a very strong run-up, right, over maybe the last 3 years. I'm not just talking near-term. Very, very strong run-up in these names, very strong re-rating. What next for these? Just in terms of delivery, is that what the market is waiting for?
No, you're right in terms of, the stocks have done very well. And the outlook has also improved quite a lot in the last 2-3 years. Currently, the revenue part and all the various metrics are looking positive. If you go down the pack, companies like Lemon Tree are looking good. And you go up the luxury segment, Indian Hotels is still looking good, despite the fact that it's done well. And, the confluence of various factors, whether it's business or leisure or MICE, all these have kind of improved from the last 3 years. I would continue to hold on and buy to these places.
Okay, Chakri, thanks so much for taking the time out and speaking with us. Appreciate our chat today. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Okay, viewers, time to get in some mid-cap ideas now. Osho, we'll come to you first. What's looking good from the mid-cap end of the market?
There are various counters which are looking actually positive to me. Bharat Forge is looking very positive. Yesterday, it has given a very strong breakout and it is hovering around the zone of 1300. So I expect the momentum can be continued in Bharat Forge. So one can look for buying opportunity. Technically, the counter is very well positioned. And I'm expecting in the short term, there is possibility of testing 1350 on immediate basis for the counter, while 1260 should be seen as a very strong support. So that should be seen as a stop loss. So Bharat Forge can see some kind of momentum in short-term perspective. And even if it breaches the zone of 1350, then from a positional point of view, one can expect a decent target of nearly 1520 to 1560 from medium-term perspective.
Okay, so those are a couple of the stocks that Osho is liking from the mid-cap basket. Kunal, what about you?
So I'll go with the one Sona BLW or Sona Comstar. That's a stock which is looking attractive. There's been a swing breakout about the 467, 470 mark for the stock on the spot level. So would look out for targets in the range of 500. Stop loss could be kept at closer to 470.
Okay, so Sona BLW, Sona Comstar.